Hi everyone, Brad from Prodigal Overland here. Today we're going to be a little bit different with things, okay? There's no Jeep in this video, so if that's the only reason you're watching it, you can check out now. What we're going to be talking about today is dreams. And no, I'm not talking about that weird dream you had last night because you ate this big burrito. I'm talking about life goals or passions, really. What that thing deep inside of you that just gnaws at you. Like, what do you do with that? And these dreams, what do you do if you have a dream and you feel like it's dead or dying? What do you do when dreams die? And also in this video, I want to directly encourage those of you who have these desires, these aches, these gnawing at your soul to do more, to be more, okay? You know, I know sometimes it can feel like you're the only one out there that wants to do something different, but you're not. Trust me, you're not. And so I want to directly encourage those people to keep going. So whether you have a dream now that you're trying to pursue or you've given up on your dream, this video is for you. Stick around. You know, Lauren and I didn't just get up and sell our house for a good time. We didn't wake up one day and say, you know, what should we do today? I don't know. We should sell our house, quit our jobs, and move. Like, that's not how it happened. We didn't watch all these Instagram people and think, oh my gosh, that's glorious. Look at that. I want to do that. That's not what happened. You know, we were in a really rough spot in our marriage and in our life, in our family. And we were in a spot where we knew we couldn't keep doing what we were doing. And Lauren and I, a little backstory on us is like, we are two very different people. And she knows that, I know that. And I often think of us as, I'm going to use this Venn diagram. I don't know if you know what a Venn diagram is, but it's where there's two circles. And then there's this area where those circles kind of overlap. And that area where they overlap are what the two circles in common. And if Lauren and I were Venn diagrams, like, we would have just a little bit of overlap. And you know, we each have what my strengths are not her strengths. And so my weaknesses are her strengths, right? So like, we complement each other very well. So honestly, like, together, like, we're a pretty complete package. But in our marriage, where it's led us to at times is it's very easy for us to do our own thing and to go separate ways, because her hobbies and her passions are not necessarily my hobbies and passions, and my hobbies and passions are not her hobbies and passions. And so historically in our marriage, it's led to this kind of, like we've talked about before, like this tag team relationship or this tag team parenting. Like, I'm gonna be with the kids, you go do your thing, when you get back I'll go do my thing, which has made it at times very difficult for us to connect. And so, like, if you think of that Venn diagram, we have this little overlap. And so after struggling for a while and realizing, like, we can't keep going like this, we sat down and said, okay, what is in this overlap? What is this area of our lives that we do both enjoy and we have in common? And so we both love nature. We love being outside and hikes and just getting to see all that God has created. And so our desperation for where we are at and our hope that something better was on the horizon led us to take these steps. And I would be willing to bet that if you look at the people you admire or the people that you idolize or stories in history, you know, we just watched today the movie Harriet, and it's about Harriet Tubman. And she says over and over again in this line, in this movie, as she's continuing to push past obstacles, she said, you know, I'm going to be free or I'm going to die. Like, for her, it was one or the other. And when we look at history and we look at people that seem to do amazing things, like, you're going to find that there is this story of desperation there. You know, when we look in the Bible, when I look in the Bible and look at scripture, like, over and over again, there are stories of desperate people seeking out God. One story in particular that I absolutely love is the story of this blind man, right? He's standing beside the side of a road in a crowd, right? He can't see what's going on, but there's this huge commotion and there's all this talking. And he asks the people next to him, like, what's going on here? And the people next to him say, like, Jesus is walking by. And now he knows this Jesus. This Jesus is supposed to heal people and he can do these amazing things. And so he begins to call out. He doesn't see where he is, but he just calls out, Jesus, have mercy on me, Jesus. And the people next to him do everything in their power to make this guy shut up. Like, be quiet. Do not talk to them. Like, quiet. And you know what it says? It says he shouts even louder. And I just love that. Like, what is inside of these people? And again, you see it in this movie that I just watched, this Harriet movie. Like there are times when people will just say to her, like, you can't do this, or I forbid you to do this. And man, does she just rile up and say, excuse me? Like not only am I going to do it, but I'm going to do it harder and further, and we're going to keep pushing. So in this story of this blind man starts to call out even more and louder until he is heard. And Jesus hears him and calls him. And then all of a sudden, everybody in the crowd's like, oh, Jesus is calling you. Go, go, go. And so he goes, and Jesus says to him, like, what do you want me to do for you? And he says, I want to see. And, right there, and then Jesus heals him, and he can see. And he tells this man, your faith, your belief, your hope, your boldness is why you're seeing. It's made you well. And you'll see this pattern over and over again of people in the Bible who approach Jesus who have desperate needs, but they combine that desperation with hope that there's something better, there's a better way, and so they are able to overcome their obstacles. I want you for a moment to think about where you're at in life right now. Like, what obstacles are in your way right now? Or in the past, maybe it's not now. Maybe you had dreams and aspirations, Like, Lauren and I are in the health field. I'm a physical therapist, and Lauren's an occupational therapist. And since 2004, I've been a therapist. And you get to see people kind of in their lows pretty often. Like, people don't come to the hospital because they're having a good day, right? And so it's interesting not only to see how people deal with illness, but to see that sometimes there are two people that have the exact same thing going on, and their healing process is completely different. And there's a common theme that I've identified there and it's not like it's rocket science, but like those people who refuse to accept this as a disability, or just say, I hear what you're saying, like, this is where I'm at. Yes, my leg's broken, or yes, I just had a stroke, but this is not going to be the end of me. Like, those people who maintain that mentality of like, this is the obstacle in my way, but I'm going to overcome it, bar none, do much better than those people with the exact same issues that think like, I'm done, I can't do this, my life is over. I believe that some people are just born and gifted with this ability to just say, no, I'm going to keep going. I have a really, really good friend who has this. Like, she's got grit like you wouldn't believe. And it doesn't matter what she wants to do. Like, if she sets her mind to it, like, it's going to happen. And it's so inspiring to me. And, I have to kind of laugh because that's not me. Like, I am not that guy. I am not that guy that can say, oh, I'm going to go do this and get it done. But I have learned a couple things about goals and dreams and aspirations. Number one, like, it's good to dream. And I'm a big thinker, and I want to think outside the box. I want to challenge kind of the norms of things, and I think that's okay. But there's times where I'll set out and make these goals and things that I want to do, and I'll get into them halfway, and it's way harder than I thought it would be, right? Way harder. And it's not hard for me to talk myself out of doing things. But I've learned over time that this is normal. Like, this is, if you want to do anything in life that's worth doing, it's going to be difficult. And you're going to hit a time where you think, man, this is way harder than I thought it would be, and I don't know if I can do that. In fact, it is my firm belief that God wants to lead us into these situations. He wants to put us in spots where we feel completely outmanned or incapable of completing what's before us. And so today, if you find yourself in a spot where you are overwhelmed by what's laying before you, like, hang in there. Hang in there. You might just be exactly where you need to be. And let me explain what I mean by that. Like, you look at these stories of people that accomplish great things. They don't ask to be put in spots that are terrible, okay? They don't ask to have the illness, to have the life struggle, to have whatever issues are going on. Like, we don't actively seek these things out, right? But they're going to come. And so really the question is, like, what are you gonna do with it? And for me, for Lauren, like, what's your hope in? Where is your hope? And for us, like, our hope is in a God that is infinitely more powerful than we are. And we have been through enough struggles in life, whether it's our marriage, our family, illness, moves that we've made, transitions that we've made, where we kind of step out in faith and kind of test the waters maybe a little bit and put ourselves intentionally or unintentionally in spots where, like, if God doesn't show up, things are going to go horribly wrong. And if you look at these stories in history, like these people you admire, like, you're gonna see that, like, if things didn't work out, like, they would have been very, very bad. You know, like, if God didn't show up, this would have gone horribly wrong. And so maybe you're sitting there and thinking, Brad, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. And you know, that's okay. Like, I'm not here to sell you something. But I do want to just ask a question. You know, these gifts and these abilities, these desires that you have in your heart, where did they come from? You know, I believe firmly, Lauren and I believe firmly, that regardless of what you believe, like, God has his fingerprints all over us, right? He has put pieces of himself in each of us. And I firmly believe that there are desires deep within to be more, to do more. And you know, sometimes, and I think often, these desires, we step out a little bit and it's just like the world comes in and just crushes us and we just give up. But it doesn't have to be that way. And you know, this video and this time, like, a couple things. I want to encourage you that if you have these desires, if you want to push through, or if you're in a tough spot right now, but you want to keep going, like, you're not alone. There are people out there who are stepping out of line, stepping out of the norm. And I want to directly encourage you in that, to keep going, but also, like, ask you, where's your hope at? Like, what is your trust in? Is it in your strength, in your abilities? Is there a friend walking with you? Like, we are not made to go alone. And so please, let me encourage you, if you haven't, or if you've forgotten, like, look beyond yourself. Like, start asking those questions, like, who put these desires inside of me? And is there somebody out there who can help me, greater than myself? And I believe that there is, for sure. And I know for a fact that if you look through some of these famous people in history who have done amazing things, like, they've done them not in their own strength, but they put their hope and their trust in something greater than themselves. You guys are in a unique spot in that you get to watch firsthand whether things are going to play out well. We're kind of like guinea pigs here. You know, it's so easy to watch a movie or read a book or hear a story of someone's life, and you almost get to see it play out. You know, years, a life gets to play before you in 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. And it's easy to forget in watching that this is someone's life, that here in the moment we don't know what's going to happen. And yet we got to keep going. So we want to encourage you, if you're watching this video, keep going. Keep going. Don't give up on that dream. You know, if you are someone that is a follower of Jesus, that believes in him, I want to encourage you too, like, and you're struggling. If you're struggling, like, just know you might be exactly where you're supposed to be. And the struggle before you is there for a reason. And ask you again, like, where is your strength resting and where is your hope? And for us, you know, and it is so easy to rely on our own strength. I mean, I'm a big problem solver. Like, I want to solve problems, and I hate when I can't solve the problem, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do here. And I want to be better about realizing that quickly and say, you know what, like, I need something bigger than myself. I need God to show up. And it's okay to be in spots where, like, if he doesn't show up, things are going to go poorly. You know, I always say that I would rather try and fail than not try at all. Like I'm going to keep trying and keep moving forward until we just can't, just can't. And I'm okay with stumbling and falling. Like, that's how we learn. You know, so many people are terrified to mess up. or to stumble and have a bad moment. I mean, it's going to happen. You know, if you're watching this, like, we will stumble and we will fall, and hopefully we get up again and we keep. I want to leave you guys with just one more story. You know, Jesus is surrounded again by his followers, and he tells them this story. You know, he says there were two neighbors that lived next to each other, and one of them had a late night visitor come. Someone came unexpectedly from a long journey and showed up at his house, and this man knew him but didn't have anything prepared for him. He didn't know he was coming. And so he's got no food to lay before his friend, but it's late, so he can't go get food. So he decides to go to his neighbor, and it's midnight, right? And so he's banging on his neighbor's door, and his neighbor wakes up and says and calls out, like, go away. Like, I'm already in bed. My kids are in bed with me. Like, I am not getting up. But the man refuses to go away and keeps knocking and says, look, I've got this friend from out of town and I need you to give me some food so that I can prepare a meal for him. And Jesus says, you know, it's not because they're friends, it's not their friendship that's going to get that man out of bed. It's not that. You know, he says it's this man's boldness, like his, and the word really is rashness or impudence. It's this idea of stubborn refusal to quit. Like, once the guy in bed realizes that his neighbor is not going away until he gets what he wants, he's getting up. And so he gets up out of bed, not because they're friends and they've been neighbors for 20 years, but because he knows this guy and knows he's not going away. And Jesus ends the story and says, like, this is how I want you to pray. And it's such an amazing story to me, because God is literally, Jesus is saying in this story, like, when you come and ask me for something, ask like this. Like, be bold and be rash and keep asking and don't go away. And it's as if God is saying, I want you to bug me with your requests. And, you know, as I think about that and as I look back on my life, like, there is something that changes you when you keep going back again and again to God and saying, like, I need this. When your desperation drives you forward and it almost thrusts you on God, like, he changes you in the process. And it's often through that struggle that you're able to overcome whatever obstacles in your way. And so I want to encourage you guys today, regardless of where you are at and what you believe in, to have hope and to not let desperation drive you down, but to take whatever struggles in front of you and to seek out that, to seek out that God that is able to overcome for you. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your time. I hope that you'll continue to watch these videos, that you'll subscribe to our channel. Like I said, we're gonna do some videos like this. We're gonna do some videos, some more Jeep videos, hopefully, of install videos and our adventures and just general RVing things, but some stuff like this, because we want you guys to know us and know where we're coming from and what our hearts are, and we want to be an encouragement, and we want to be able to reach out and help if we can. So thanks again for watching. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.